Waha! What's up, Heather Sims?
Good morning.
Good morning, social media friends and everybody else that has also joined us out there. We are extremely excited to go live again. We didn't give a ton of notice on this one, and we did that on purpose because we are going to do this once a month, and they're short, and that's what they're intended to be. So 15 minutes. And why 15 minutes, Heather?
Because that's about our attention span nowadays, at least for many out there.
Especially
I know
this
for me,
guy right here.
15 minutes I can handle, not an hour-long webinar.
No, yeah, an hour might be a bit much for some of us. Although, could we talk an hour on this subject today?
Oh, at least, more than, yeah.
No loss for words, right?
Right.
So this month is all about employee engagement. And today we're going to highlight some of just a little bit about employee engagement, because next week we're going to do a full webinar. It's going to be a small webinar. Hopefully you can join us. You can ask questions, but we're going to get a little bit more into the tactics and strategies of what we do. It's not proprietary. I think that what we do is amazing. That's our little plug, but it's we want to share with you how we work and what we do. And we love to also always get some honest feedback from that. So why do we want to talk about employee engagement today? I'll start with that, and then I'll add you in there, Heather. Going back to this, circling back a little, this is not scripted. We do have some bullet points, but we want it live, unfiltered, and raw.
Yep. No teleprompting here.
Perfect. So why do we want to talk about employee engagement? And really, what is it? First of all, employee engagement is different to everybody. It's different, and there's different modalities. There's different ways to engage. It is not always this face-to-face mandated. You have to sit with a benefit counselor. There's different ways to engage. But we really need to get to this root of this problem, which is employers just aren't spending enough time mostly on employee engagement. They take the time to put this great benefit package into play. They spend all the work. Brokers spend a lot of their time and energy putting these together, and employees just don't know how good their benefits are. Well, why is that? It's because there's no strategy really to tell them how great they are. Give you an example. I've recently seen, we went into a new client, and the deductible was $0. Copay was like $10. Some of the best benefits I've seen in a long time, and the employees didn't know it. They thought their benefits were absolute crap. And compared to what? Well, right. The problem is the employer.
You froze again.
So they didn't know. They don't know what they don't know.
They didn't take the time. Yep.
They didn't take the time, right? Have you ever seen this happen before, Heather? Great benefit package, employees just think it's horrible?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Either think it's horrible, or maybe they don't think it's horrible, but maybe they don't truly understand the value of what's being provided to them, right? And how much thought's gone behind it, how much money the employer is actually spending. And I think a lot of times they don't realize that till they go to another employer, and we hear that too. I'll sit with someone, they're like, man, I had some great benefits where I was before. They didn't realize what some of the other benefit packages might look like. And so, there was just a little lack of education there. And you can read all sorts of studies and stuff, right? One that recently came out said that only 43% of the employees felt their enrollment experience was positive. Right. And 48% said their employer did not provide them with enough educational resources to prepare them for open enrollment. And so, why is that? Why are we not doing that? What do you think, Jack? I have some reasons why I think, but
yeah, it's too much work. A lot of times it's viewed as too much work. I think that's part of it. And you and I talked a little bit about that behind the scenes, and I'll have you elaborate on that. But I think that's part of it. And then the other is the employers and sometimes the believe they have a great benefit package. We do have a good package, but it's all about communication and what that looks like and that strategy. And there's one other piece that I think is a big challenge, which is this year, especially, a lot of times there's no changes. Well, there's no changes. That could also be a great thing, but how's it communicated?
Yeah.
And it should still be communicated at least some way, shape, or form.
Well, right. And I mean, even if there were no changes, you can highlight many things that are offered that might be of interest to the employees in this environment, right? Maybe you're highlighting the telemed program that employer, that carrier has in this state when people don't want to go into the doctor and they'd rather have a telemed. Maybe they weren't aware of that. Maybe they're making a very small change. But these are conversations that need to be had, really, with the broker professional that's bringing these to the table and going through this whole process that, often takes months to go to market, bring the best value. They collaborate, they decide what's going to be done. And then I kind of feel like from there, sometimes the momentum just stops. I don't know if it's because the broker felt like they've done their job at that point, and no matter what they kind of do after that, they're going to pretty much get the enrollment they expect. I mean, I hope that's not the case for the most part. I think it's more so that people just don't know what they don't know. So the broker is often busy, don't always have the resources. They say, hey, we're going to do something virtual this year, and we'll toss out a Zoom meeting that's recorded for the employees to click on when they want to. And we all know that a lot of times they're not doing that. If I'm coming in for an 8-hour shift and you're at least giving me the opportunity to hear about this, for 15 minutes while I'm at work and forcing me to listen, then, you're going to be able to get that message across much more. So there's different ways to go about it, but I think people are just busy. They think it's too much of a lift. The employer's used to doing the same old thing every year. We're not making changes. It doesn't need to be active. And so, you just lose a lot of the value that's there. And it's only done once a year. It's not like we're sitting here trying to do this every month and it's this huge lift. I mean, if you're going to spend thousands of dollars on benefits, second biggest spend for most businesses. Some are doing it because they want to, some are doing it because they feel like they have to. Why would you not put a little extra energy into open enrollment to make sure that it's a positive experience for, more than the 60, 50% that said it was, and that they truly understand and feel empowered by what they're given and the choices they're making.
Now, see, I love the Zoom meetings, even if people don't watch it at that time, which is interesting. But here's what happens is if it's one Zoom meeting that's recorded, well, that's only one touch point. And with one touch point, it oftentimes gets lost. I don't know about you, but sometimes if you get something and you think you're going to review and spend all this time on it and how amazing it is, but at the same time, you get busy, you push it off, and then all of a sudden you have 5 minutes left to complete something because you forgot all about it. Now, what's your likelihood of going back and watching that, right?
Probably not. And when I'm sitting there 5 minutes before midnight, which I will say I have done for my husband's benefits themselves, and I'm in benefits. We are all many of us are procrastinators. But how good is my decision making at that point? A, and B, I don't have the ability to reach out to resources, whether that's the broker's number I was given or whoever else they might have given me. Now I'm at the last hour, and again, we're making hasty decisions. So to your point, there needs to be multiple touch points. And if that's not strategized at the beginning, then we're being reactive, right? So I've been in situations where they're like, hey, we're going to push this out. And when people need help, they'll call us. And then all of a sudden they get to 2 days before deadline and they see that 90% of the staff hasn't gone in and enrolled in the enrollment platform like they're supposed to, right? And now we're being reactive. We're like, oh, we got to call people and try and get them to go in. And it becomes negative. Like we're hounding the employees, get your benefits done, right? Like how different of an experience could that have been for the employees if there was a little, thought put into what that week looks like, having maybe multiple touches, having a strategy, and making it a celebration. Again, we spend so much money on benefits and people are lucky to have access to these benefits. Not everyone does. So why wouldn't we make it more of a celebration and put a little energy into making that the energy of open enrollment, right? Versus this drag and this lift and you gotta go through open enrollment, right?
So just to put it in a visual perspective, hey, employees, it's open enrollment. You can make your benefit decisions if you want to. If you're making changes, go for it. If not, no big deal. Or, hey, team, we're super excited this year that we haven't made any changes. We still continue to offer some of the best-in-class benefits based off of our geography and industry. And we want to show you how and why. So just the communication, the tone of it, and then secondly, having that full strategy, because we all react differently, right? Some still love email, but we know that email is not read a lot. Some love text. Doesn't work for everybody. Some like paper still. We're working with one right now that's fantastic, and they want everything in paper. Well, that's okay. It's also based.
Nope, you froze for a minute, but I think I know what you're going to say. Based on the demographic and the generation.
With a full strategy. Perfect. Thank you, Heather. I think internet's a little glitchy, even though we have the top internet with so many people around. I mean, everybody's at home on spring break in my neighborhood. But anyways, as I digress, it's coming back to creating the modalities that are meant for the company based off demographics. So we'll dive into that a little bit more next week. That's very exciting for both of us. And it can really improve participation in all lines and help get employees in the right plans based on what their true family needs are. And I did want to throw a special shout out there for some of the brokers that we work with that really take this to heart and work very hard to create true strategies that help improve enrollment across the board. It can be the difference between making participation for a new group or not with medical or dental or vision or voluntary, enhanced, whatever you want to call all of those lines. But it really makes a big difference to have a strategy. Plus, can it mean the difference between a broker winning or losing a case, Heather?
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's what I was just going to say. And I mean, I think, and I get it. I mean, I get it. There's so much that goes along with being a broker, right? Of having to go shop the market I know a lot of people are being used as a resource right now with all the changes that are going on in legislation and employer law, and they're really being, a resource and leaned on for those things. There's so much going on that I can see how easily it could be to do the same things that we've done over year after year. But when that employer that's done that same thing year after year and gets that same thing that fifth year, but they also have this other broker come in and go, let me show you what I can do. And they have a full communication and strategy plan of what open enrollment's going to look like, the multiple touches, the support they're going to provide. That will definitely be the win or lose piece. And I saw it happen recently. And the broker, I don't think had any idea what hit them. But the other broker that came in, I noticed had a technology platform that they really focused on. They had a lot of different touch points. And I personally believe that's probably what won them the case and made the difference, because the industry is changing now. We can't just do the same thing that we always do. And those who are doing it differently and really putting more energy in this place, I think, have the edge.
Mm-hmm. And we see that a lot, actually. So anyways, you know what? We are at our final minutes, or our final minute, I should say. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we close it out?
No, thanks for joining us. I hope everyone carves out a half hour for our webinar next week. It will be definitely something to attend, and we'll dig in a little more if this is of interest to you.
Yep, April 8th, 11 Pacific Standard Time. We'll send out a link, but if you want to come, just send either Heather or myself a private message, and we will get you added. Thank you. Have an amazing day. Live and
Happy hump day.